Jai Hind. Myself, Dr. Amita Asthana from Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Here in this video lecture, I will explain the topic bipolar junction transistor, that is BJT, and it is being taken from the syllabus of BC 201, Fundamental of Electronics Engineering. And here the topic explains all the configurations related to the bipolar junction transistor and all the fundamentals and basic concepts for the bipolar junction transistor. So here we go. Basically, there are two types of transistor. A few transistors practically they have been shown in this particular diagram, and there are basically two types as shown here. First is PNP and second one is NPN. So the PNP is like, first there are three slabs and there will be two junctions. Let's say if I say this is P type semiconductor, this is N type semiconductor, and this is P type semiconductor. So here these are three terminal. First terminal would be emitter, second terminal would be base, and this one would be collector. So if this is N type, this is P type, and this is N type, and the terminal would be the same, emitter, collector, and base. So there are two types of transistor, PNP transistors and NPN transistor, and there would be three terminals, and first is emitter, and second one is base, and third one would be collector. The NPN transistor BJT consisting of three semiconductor regions, that is N type, P type, and the N type, and PNP as N type, and the P type, N type, and then P type. Here few transistors practically are being shown in the diagram. So here we go. Basically, we can say we will now discuss the PNP transistor, the width and the length and the doping of the, the regions of the particular BJT transistor. So here this P type region, N type region, and then P types. Hence, it is a PNP transistor, right? So as we can see in this diagram, the base is very thin. The width of the base, see, the width of the base is quite thin, and this width and this width are approximately comparable, but the width of this particular collector would be slightly greater than the emitter width, right? So this is how the transistors are being fabricated. Similarly, here the width of this collector would be slightly greater than the width of the emitter. And if I talk of the doping level, the doping would be highest for the emitter region, and the collector would be a moderate doped collector, and the base would be like a very least doped region, right? If I say, that means here the P would be highly doped with the trivalent impurities, and here this P would be lightly doped with the with the trivalent impurities, and here pentavalent, the N type region would be doped very light doping. So the doping difference is there within the emitter, base, and collector, and similarly applies for the NPN. Okay, and if I talk of the symbol, so if the PNP transistor, I like always say this particular is the symbol for the BJT. Here it is base, here would be emitter, and here this is collector, right? I'm very specific to the points. If I say here this is the base, this emitter point, and these pointers, see, these points are very specific. And if you apply a Kirchhoff voltage law or Kirchhoff current law, you have to take care of these crossed points, the base point, the emitter point and the collector point, right? And if you are taking any voltage, then you have to be very, very careful. So this base, emitter and collector, the 3 points. And then if it is a NPN transistor, right? If it is NPN, the arrow would be like this. That means the arrow is like this. And if it would be PNP, then the arrow would be like this. Okay. So here it is being shown the NPN is arrow towards the emitter, and this PNP, the arrow is towards the base. So this is how the symbols are being made for the transistor. The transistor, now here one more thing I would like to tell you, that this is the base point, this is emitter, and this is collector, right? So here the voltage, what we can apply is the voltage. So emitter, the voltage applied between the emitter and base, and the voltage applied between the base and the collector. So there are basically so many modes of the transistor depending uh, on the biasing we have applied, the voltage VEE applied. Like if I am connecting, it's a PNP transistor, and if I am connecting this as positive, P type to the positive, and here I am connecting P type to the negative, that means I am making it absolutely forward bias and I am making it absolutely reverse bias. So this forward and this reverse, I could made it forward, forward, reverse, reverse, and reverse forward too. And there are these biasing is responsible for the transistor modes. That means if it is forward and reverse, the emitter and base, if it is forward bias, and base and the collector, if it is reverse bias, then the transistor is said to be in active region. So we will study how the transistor is working and what are the modes of the transistor. Similarly here, for the NPN transistor, this N is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, and this P type is connected to the positive. So making it absolutely forward, and here we are making it the reverse bias. Now this forward reverse is always, transistor would be said to be act in the active mode. So the transistor consisting of two PN junction, the emitter base junction and the collector base junction, and depending on the biasing of these two junctions, the transistor operates in various modes. If it would be a reverse and forward, then the transistor is in the reverse mode of the operation. Now transistor construction. Again, whatever I earlier told, that this transistor emitter, the supply of, since it is going to supply the charge carriers, which are the majority charge carriers, then that emitter is heavily doped. I already told it is to be very, very heavily doped so that it can emit the majority carriers, because one majority carriers will be emitted and the current will be flowing. So this is how the transistor is working. Collector is, since it is collecting the charge carriers, so that it is not heavily doped, but the doping is very less than the emitter doping. But the base is very least doped. So here the middle portion, which forms two PN junctions between the emitter and the collector, is called the base, and it's a very lightly doped portion, and it's a very thin portion too. So base is lightly doped and base is very thin. Collector is having highest width, and it is being moderately doped, and the emitter is heavily doped. Now coming to the modes of operation, which I already told, depending on the emitter base and collector base biasing, the modes of operation can be explained for the BJT. There are two junctions in the bipolar junction transistors, and different modes of operation will be there. If I am saying the active mode, the first junction should be forward and the second one should be reverse. That means emitter base to be forward and collector base to be reverse. If it is reverse, both are reverse, then the transistor will work in the cutoff region. And if the both are forward, then the transistor would be, the in the saturation mode. Now, BJT modes of operation. Forward emitter based junction is forward bias and collector based junction is reverse bias. The transistor is working in active mode. Cutoff, when the both junctions are reverse bias, that is the cutoff region. And if the both junctions are forward bias, that means the transistor will go into the saturation, and saturation is matlab, that means the current is conducting and the transistor is working as a switch. That means it's a closed switch and it would be in on operation. Whereas in the cutoff mode, the transistor is working as an off switch, right? So coming to the operation of PNP transistor in active mode, here I am going to explain how the the things are being developed for the transistor. So let us say it is P type and this is N type, and again this is P type. So I have made this as forward bias. Now what is going to happen if the emitter base junction is forward bias? As we can see, the P type is constituting the majority carriers. It is having so many of holes. Now since here the positive voltage is applied here, then all the positive charge carrier will move towards, will distract from the positive terminal of the battery, and they will just cross the base, and few of the holes will be captured by the electrons present in the base, and they will recombine with the electrons. But mostly the charge carriers, that means the holes, will move here. So forward bias junction of PNP transistor, the majority carriers, few of them, let's say a very small portion, few of them are getting captured by the base, and other holes are crossing the junction. This junction they are going to cross. Let's say if 100 holes are crossing the going to be emitted by the emitter, then let's say 4 of them are being captured by the base, because base is very lightly doped. So it cannot capture so many holes, right? And the holes are having so much of energy due to this distraction by the positive terminal of the battery, and 96 holes will cross the junction and 4 will be captured by the base. This is going to happen, and this current will be flowing in this particular direction because holes are moving in this direction. So current will flow like this. So one is that the holes are crossing the junction, and out of 100, 4 holes are, let's say, they are being captured by the base, and remaining 96 they can cross the junction, and they are responsible for current to flow across the transistor, right? So this is how the forward thing is working. Now coming to the reverse biasing. So reverse biasing, here the negative is being applied at the P type. Now what is going to happen with this? Obviously they are really attracted by the negative terminal of the battery. So these holes will also move towards the battery, right? Towards the battery. But few minority carriers, and they will support the emitter current, that this current will be supported by the movement of these holes due to the negative terminal of the battery, and they will obviously enhance whatever the holes are coming, they are attracted towards this negative terminal of the battery, and hence one current is flowing due to the majority carrier, right? Now coming to the what is happening with the minority carriers at the reverse biasing junction. So here this negative, some electrons are present here at the P type, and this will be these all the electrons will be distracted by this negative, and they would lead small current, a very small current, and that current is known as reverse saturation current because this particular junction is reverse bias. So there are two currents which are going to flow. First is due to the forward bias, the majority current, ammeter current, and one is due to the minority charge carrier, and hence the transistor is said to be bipolar junction transistor because one current is due to the majority carrier and another current is due to the minority carrier. So now operation of PNP transistor in active mode. So the current is, let's say, which I explained, this is 96 holes which are able to cross the junction. Few holes are being captured and they are constituting this particular current, and one more current is there due to the cutoff. So majority carriers flow and the minority carriers. Since electrons are moving this direction, so the current will be flowing in this particular direction. This is forward bias, this is reverse bias. This ammeter current is flowing in this direction and collector current is coming out of this collector terminal, right? And here it is the base, so IB. Now I can say if I apply KCL, then obviously IE is equal to IB plus IC. So this is the basic equation which all the configuration of the transistors are following. I is equal to IB plus IC, where I is the ammeter current, IB is the base current, and IC is the collector current. So all the ammeter current is sum of the base current and the collector current. Okay, so this is the equation which is universal for all the configuration, whether the transistor is in common ammeter configuration, whether the transistor is in common base configuration, whether the transistor is in common collector configuration. Now coming to this currents in the transistor, which I already told you that this IE is equal to IC plus IB, the first equation, which is the basic equation for all the transistor, and it always holds. Now, so second is the one current due to the majority carrier and one current is due to the minority current, that is ICO. Okay. So there are two basic currents. First is current due to the majority carrier and one current is due to the minority current. Both can be added to give the total collector current. So IC is equal to IC majority plus ICO minority. Okay. Coming to all the configuration of the transistor, there are three configuration. When we are making the base as common, we say transistor to be in the common base configuration. Similarly, we have the characteristics for the common base configuration, operating regions and approximations like this. So we will discuss in this video lecture the common base configuration and in the same way I will be explaining how the common emitter and common collector can be studied. So here I go. There are three basic configuration: common emitter, common base and common collector. Okay, three configuration. Let's say I am taking example for NPN transistor. Okay, we should understand how we will recognize whether the transistor is in common emitter, common base or common collector. So here we go. Like if we have one transistor configuration, since it's NPN, so I am putting the arrow outwards towards the ammeter and right. I am very specific always to the points of emitter, base and collector. And here, let's say when the transistor is in common base, let's say if I am taking output from the collector and providing input from the emitter, then this particular terminal is common and the transistor is said to be in common base, right? And this is how we say that their transistor is working in common base. Okay, this should be clear, and you should recognize first in which configuration the transistor is. Now coming to here, emitter, collector and base. If I am providing input from the base and taking output from the collector and making emitter to be common, then it is said to be common emitter configuration, right? And similarly, this is my transistor and I have to make it common collector. Then this is my base terminal, this is my collector terminal and this is my emitter terminal. I want to make collector to be common. I will provide input from the base and take output from the emitter, and this particular is common and hence it is in common collector configuration. So this is how we recognize whether the transistor is working in common emitter, common base or in common collector mode. Now quickly we will see the working of transistor in common base. So here whatever I told, that this particular we have putting in this base is common, and input voltage is applied at between the emitter and base here, and I am taking output from the collector. So it is working in common base configuration. For common base configuration, what we do is we put the current gain as alpha. Okay, we say the current gain is alpha. Okay, it is for PNP and this is for NPN. Okay, base is common. We are providing input from the emitter and taking output from the collector. So this is how working. Now we can see the input characteristics and output characteristics of the transistor. How to define the input characteristics? See, input characteristics is the graph between input voltage and input current, keeping one parameter of the output constant. Similarly, the output characteristics will be given by the graph, a graph between the output voltage and output current, keeping one parameter at the input to be constant. So here we can see that if we are interested to draw the input characteristics of the BJT, then what we are doing is we are keeping input voltage constant, graph between input voltage and input current, and what we are putting as common, the output voltage is being common. That means a graph between this VBE and current is IE. So input voltage, input current, and what we are putting as constant, output voltage to be constant. Okay, so this is how we remember the input characteristics can be drawn between the input voltage and input current, keeping the VCB as constant. Then the graph like comes as a characteristics of PN junction diode. So when the current we are increasing, after the cut-in, the current is increasing exponentially, and if we increase the reverse current, reverse voltage at the output, then the graph is increasing more rapidly for the increased output voltage, right? Similarly, we can draw for the common base configuration. Common base configuration, again I will say the output characteristics is the graph between output voltage VCB, okay, and this is the output current IC. output voltage and output current. What we are going to keep constant here, we are going to keep constant as ammeter current. This ammeter current is constant, and we will draw the graph between these two. Now coming to the characteristics of the common base configuration, here this is the cutoff region, you know. That means the cutoff region is there is no current as we are increasing the VCB. There is no current. The transistor is working in the cutoff region and the current value is 0. As we increase the voltage VCB, the current slightly increases and then it gets constant and it gets saturated. Similarly here, we will increase more, you know, VCB, and the current will increase first and then it will get saturated. Similarly, the graph will go like this. Here it is the saturation region. So these are the practical graphs which are being shown in the diagram, and we need to understand how the current is increasing, because if we are increasing the reverse voltage, this will support the current, but current will not keep on increasing every time. It is going to be constant, and this particular region is known as the active region. This whole region is the active region of the transistor operation, and there is the cutoff region, and here it is the saturation. So the graph demonstrates the output current to an output voltage for various levels of input current, right? You have to show for I is equal to 0 milliampere, I is equal to 1 milliampere, 2 milliampere, 3 milliampere, 4 ampere, and so on, right? Operating region, again active. It's a operating range of amplifier. The transistor is working as an amplifier. The cutoff, the region where the collector current is approximately 0 ampere, and basically the amplifier is in off mode, saturation. The transistor is working in the on state, and region to the left of the VCB is equal to 0 volts. Now there is an exponential increase in the collector current as we are increasing the voltage VCB. Now the equations for the common base emitter and collector current. Here the base emitter voltage VBE is equal to 0.7 volts. You can take it as 0.7 volts, and IC is equal to IE. Here we define alpha DC. The current gain is IC upon IE, the collector current upon emitter current, and alpha AC as the difference of collector current upon difference of emitter current, keeping VCB constant. But the basic equation for numerical, I would like to say that you have to use this particular formula. IC is equal to alpha IE plus ICBO. If it is given, if the numerical is not discussing any value for ICBO, then only you can take it as the ICBO to be neglected. Otherwise, you can't neglect the ICBO. For numerical point of view, you have to keep IC is equal to alpha IE plus ICBO. So this is one important relationship you have to learn, where alpha is the current gain and ICBO is the reverse saturation current in common base configuration. These are 3 configurations, and similarly you can get the input and output characteristics of common emitter and common collector configurations. Next we will discuss it. Okay, then take care. Jai Hind.